Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be discussing a really cool watch I've had in my collection for a couple of years now. The Bulova Precisionist Wilton. It's got some awesome features that I want to share with you guys. So let's switch perspectives and take a closer look at the watch. Alright guys, so let's just start off by going through some of the specs of the Bulova. This is a very large watch. The case diameter comes in at 46 millimeters with a thickness of 15 millimeters. Also, the lug width, 24 millimeters, so that's very large as well. The water resistance is 50 meters, and the other thing I'd like to point out is the weight of this watch. I don't have a scale, but I was able to find online that it comes in at 231 grams, so that should be noted. It is quite hefty, and you really feel it on the wrist. What first drew my attention to this watch was the dial. I really like the color. It's white, but it has a metallic-y finish to it. I'm not sure if you can see that through the camera here, and it's quite pretty. The other thing was the dimensions of the dial. There's 3 or 4 different layers to the dial, and each layer has a different finish, which I quite liked. Definite departure from the original line that were much gaudier, not up my alley at all. Now, despite the fact that there's so much going on with this dial, there's 4 sub-dials and all the layering, it's very clean looking in my opinion. So before we start in on some of the cool features of this watch, I just wanted to show you guys the bracelet. It's pretty well finished, but the one thing I will say, and not everybody's going to like it, is got some weight to it. You really feel it on the wrist. Some days I like that and others not so much. It's got a nice deployment clasp. You can see it's signed here with the Precisionist logo. And it's pretty solid, but again, the weight may bother some people. The case is quite nicely finished. It is almost completely brushed other than this one little stripe just along the side of the case that is polished. Also, the crown and pushers are polished, with the crown having the Precisionist logo engraved. The crown also has some, I don't know if you'd call that knurling or not, but it is very easy to grip. And overall, I think the finishing is fairly well done on this watch. When it comes to the movement of the Precisionist, they claim that it is accurate to within 10 seconds per year. I personally have not tested that, but it does keep great time. It is operating at a very high frequency compared to most quartz watches, which gives it its accuracy. Also, it is to be noted the sweeping second hand. It is beating at 16 beats per second, which gives it that nice glide around the dial. So for me, the best part of this watch has to be the chronograph. This thing measures up to 1/1000th of a second. I'm not sure if there's any other watches out there that do this. I haven't heard of any, but let's just put it in chrono mode by clicking the 8 o'clock pusher. So let's start it up and just take note of how quick the hands are moving on the 12 o'clock dial. I just think that's so cool. So we'll let it run for a second here, and then I'm going to show you how to read the chronograph. So at the 12 o'clock dial, there are 2 rings of numbers. The first is 1/10 of a second, the second outer ring is 100th of a second, and down here we're at 1/1000th of a second. So we're at 12.493 seconds. So very accurate, and I just think that's a really neat feature of this watch. So let's just put it on the wrist so I can show you guys what it looks like on, and I'm going to share with you some of my pros and cons of the watch. Alright, so first thing you're going to notice with this watch is going to be the size. It is definitely on the upper end of the size scale that I'm comfortable with, and that's probably its biggest downfall for me. The other thing is the bracelet that it comes with is 24 millimeters wide. Now, it is very stiff, which is normally a good thing, but in this case, it kind of pinches the wrists when you're doing something active. So that's the 2 big downfalls plus for me. Other than that, I really enjoy the design of this watch and appreciate the technology that's gone into it. So let's switch back perspectives and wrap this up. Okay guys, so thanks so much for tuning back into the channel. If anybody has any questions about the Bulova Precisionist, particularly this model, I'm more than happy to answer anything that wasn't covered in the review. You can either hit me up in the comment section below or in my email, which is in the description. I really appreciate you coming back, and we'll see you in the next one.